You are now listening to the smooth sensations and high vibrations of Alex, host of the best relationship channel on YouTube. Alex, drop them gems on us.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. And what you're looking at right now is the first part of the studio I'm building. I call this the bricks. And the reason I decided to go back to that style, this channel's called Reset Relationships, alright? We're resetting y'all mind. We unplugging y'all from the matrix. We unplugging y'all from normal thinking, alright? We unplugging y'all from what you see in Disney fairy tales and all that stuff, how a man should move, how a woman should move. And we're talking about how it really goes down out here in these streets. How you have to maneuver through the trash to find the right one, to find a relationship that you're eventually going to escalate to marriage. Now, because I'm giving y'all raw, gritty truth, and I'm saying things in a lot of ways that people are uncomfortable talking about or that they won't talk about, it kind of brought me back to my roots. I turned myself into a suburban kid, but originally I was from the projects. So it took me back to the bricks. And I call it the bricks because it's raw, gritty talk, right? It's rough on the surface, but you're going to build a foundation that leads to the house. Woo, that's a gem. Let it breathe, run it back. I call it the bricks because it's rough on the surface, but you need it as a foundation to build the house. This might not be the information you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear, and it's what's going to help you progress as a man and as a woman. It's not just that, oh, these women are trash, you don't got to worry about them, keep doing you. It's not, oh, these men are trash, you ain't got to worry about them, keep doing you. It's no, this is the reality of the situation, and this is how you're going to have to move to maneuver and get yourself to where you ultimately want to be. That's what we talk about over here. Alright? So the first part of the studio is done. That's the bricks. Alright? We're going to have other parts of the studio that are going to see me in a lot of different backdrops coming up. We're about to start live streaming. It's about to get real, really fast. Alright? Now with that being said, I'm operating off of like 4 hours of sleep. Because those of you who've been subscribed for a while, you already know I run 2 businesses. Alright? I have a lot going on all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out this video so that way I can get myself some shut-eye. Alright? So with that being said, what we're here to talk about is Jodie Smith and her recent divorce from Joshua Jackson, because she made 2 major mistakes that anyone who knows anything about relationship psychology, marriage psychology, already knew was going to doom this marriage from the start before we even got to the point of her ultimately filing for divorce. Alright, y'all know whenever we talk about celebrities on this channel, this is not a tea channel, this is not a gossip channel, so we're talking about celebrities, it's usually to teach a bigger lesson that almost always goes back to self-improvement or relationships or something you can learn about it in some way. We don't really care about the celebrities, alright? So with that being said, ladies, there's going to be a lot of gems for y'all on this one, so listen up, alright? The first mistake she made is she continued a fling. I repeat, the first mistake she made is she continued to fling. I said she did 2 things wrong. She really did 3 things wrong. Alright? Continuing to fling. What do you mean by continuing to fling, Alex? Well, they started off as a one-night stand. So basically, they came, they vibed, it was supposed to be a thing, man, they were supposed to keep it pushing. But she turned it into more of a friends with benefits situation. Now here is the thing. Alright? I'm very candid. I'll be honest with you guys. I have not had a lot of one-night stands, because I'm not a big one-night stand person, but I have had one-night stands, okay? And from my experience, and the experience I've had talking to other men, alright, I want y'all all to listen to what I'm saying to you. 9 out of 10 times, if you have a one-night stand with somebody, that's it. Anything you guys try to grow from that point is just not going to work out. Alright, now, from my experience as a man, this is going to lead back into the women, so ladies, listen up. The reason it generally doesn't work out for us is because you have a one-night stand with the girl. Let's say it was good, it went down well, she was attractive, so you kind of wanted to run it back. Well, the problem is, when you go to run it back, the woman, the majority of the time, is not going to try to put you in a position where she wants you to court her. Now she wants to go on a date. Now she wants to get to know you. Now she wants to start asking you vetting questions. But that's never what it was. We were just here to smash. I'm coming back to do the same thing. I'm not really coming back to get to know you on that level. Alright? So it's almost like basically, once you do a one-night stand with a female, the majority of the time, she's gonna, if you come back to her, try to push it towards a relationship. Because the thing a lot of dudes don't get is, in the moment, right? You looking sexy, you talking good, y'all both in the mood, y'all put it down, it sounds good, but what happens a lot of the times is, women get a chance to think about it often before you even leave that night, and they start to feel bad. They start to feel like a hoe. They start to feel like they gave it up too quick. So if you circle back, they're gonna almost immediately push towards that relationship. Or they just won't respond. But most of the time they're gonna push towards that relationship because they figure, okay, if I can get this dude to have a one night stand with, to basically get into a relationship with me, or even be friends with benefits with me, it's kind of a win because I got something out of it. I can get him to take me on a few dates or something. I got something out of it. Now the ladies might be watching this and y'all might be thinking, okay, Alex, how does that help us? Well, that's the experience that me and most men have when we go on one night stands. I have to think that it's that way because generally, once that deed is done, once you got your nut, the squirrel has found their nut, now you're laying in the bed and you're thinking, dang, I just did some hoe stuff. So the problem is when the man comes back, you automatically on guard because you're like, oh, he really think I'm a hoe. He think he about to just run it back, not take me nowhere, not talk to me, get to know me, and he's just gonna bang my case again. I'm not letting it go down that way. But here's the problem. Let's say you're successful, okay? Which you're not going to be most of the time. Because most of the time when a man had a one night stand with you, you have to understand there's a certain level of respect that you're probably not going to get back. If you feel like you did some hoe stuff, you probably did do some hoe stuff, right? And this is an early gym. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. I repeat, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you laid in the bed feeling like you just did some whole stuff, chances is the dude's feeling that way. Which doesn't necessarily mean he's going to judge you or he even looks down at you, but it does mean he's probably not going to make you a wife. That's just the reality of the situation. So trying to push the man towards a relationship or anything like that is automatically a bad deal. Alright? So, mistake number one was she prolonged the fling instead of just letting the fling be a fling, she pushed it to be a friends with benefits, okay? Now, mistake number two, she got pregnant. How do you get pregnant with the man who's your friend with benefits? He's not your man. Y'all not in a relationship, and it started from a fling, which was a one-night stand. At no point was there any indication that Joshua really liked Jodie, that Joshua wanted to take things to the next level with Jodie. So she just has been doing everything in her power to ensure she wasn't going to get pregnant by this man. Now, on the flip side, y'all going to say, yes, he should have been doing everything in his power to make sure he didn't get her pregnant. At the end of the day, y'all always say, my body, my choice. So, your body, your choice. You made the choice to keep laying down with a dude who you already knew wasn't really feeling you like that. You should have done everything in your power, in my opinion, to make sure that you didn't wind up pregnant, okay? But she did wind up pregnant. And because she wound up pregnant, she made another mistake that I tell you guys not to make all the time, which is she tried to push for a relationship or a marriage because she was pregnant. Let me tell you guys something. A kid has a higher probability of tearing your relationship apart than putting it together. Let it breathe, run it back, because a lot of women have this problem. You think, oh, I'm going to have this baby and it's going to keep the man. You think, oh, I'm going to have this baby and things are going to change. They are not, 9 times out of 10. So let me repeat. Most of the time, if you have a baby with the man, it's going to do more to grow you guys apart than it is going to do to put you guys back together. Why am I saying that? Well, I'm saying that because of this. At the end of the day, you got pregnant with this man. Now you're going to try to force him to get in a relationship with you. Now you're going to try to force this man to marry you solely to save your own virtue. Because that's really what it's about. You feel unvirtuous, you feel dirty, you feel like a thought. This goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about trying to make a friends with benefits or a relationship situation with someone who's a fling. Let the fling be a fling. Take the good time as a good time, right? This is all kind of tying together. Because now you messed around and got pregnant. You don't want everyone to know you got pregnant by a dude you wasn't in a relationship with. You don't want everyone to know you got pregnant by a dude you wasn't married to. You damn sure don't want anyone to know you got pregnant by a fling. So now you want to put pressure to put a title on the situation. Not because you love them, not because you care about them, not even because you think it's going to work, solely because you don't want to deal with society and everybody's judgment. Alright, which you would have had to if you would have just let the fling be a fling. But then number 3, this is the biggest mistake, and this is the worst mistake that she made. The third biggest mistake that she made is she asked him to marry her. Let that breathe, run it back. She asked him to marry her. Somebody timestamp this for me. Ladies, I don't give a damn how much you love a man. I don't give a damn if you feel like, but he's never going to ask me, Alex. But he's never going to ask me. I don't give a damn about none of that. Never ask a man to marry you. Never ask a man to marry you. Alright? At the end of the day, whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter if you are Jewish, alright? It doesn't matter if you're Catholic, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, it doesn't matter if you're Islamic, alright? It doesn't matter if you're spiritual. They'll pretty much all tell you some variation of a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. It is the charge of the man who's supposed to be masculine, who's supposed to be the hunter, to find himself a wife and propose to his wife. The minute you propose to a man, you're out of order. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Women tend to think in emotion. Look at this entire video. Alright? Go back to the mistake number 1. Trying to turn a fling into a friend with benefits or a relationship when she should have just left that as a fling. What's that have to do with? Her feelings. How she felt afterwards. Maybe she started to like him because he put it down good. Maybe she started to feel like a hoe. Who knows? But for whatever reason, she's overstepping her boundaries and trying to create something that doesn't need to exist, which is a relationship with a man who already views you as a bird. Alright, then number 2, what happens? She gets pregnant. Again, instead of just being like, okay, I'm pregnant, we're going to co-parent, now she wants to be married and she wants to be in a relationship. Why? Because that's how she feels. Again, whether that's because she really loves him and she really wanted a relationship with him, or because her image, and she was worried about what people were going to think about her, it still all goes back to feelings. Why are you saying this, Alex? I'm saying this simply because a woman makes a decision she wants to marry a man based upon feeling most of the time. Most of the time, it's based upon how she feels. This is kind of how a woman's relationship cycle works, alright? So you get with her, alright, y'all start going on dates and stuff. She establishes that she likes you. Once a woman establishes that she likes you, fellas, I want you guys to understand this. In her head, you already her man. Nothing else matters. In her head, you her man, that's what it is. Alright? Before you even give her the official title. So in her head, she already locked in. So if she's not your girl yet, that's what she's pushing for, okay? Once we get past that, and y'all get into the relationship, what's next? The next thing she's going to be pushing for is a marriage. Why? Because she's in her feelings. Now she loves you. Now you must love her too, because you got a relationship to her. So let's get married. Alright? So then she wants to get married. Now, once you marry her, she starts thinking about buying a house. Then she starts thinking about having kids. But everything is like a short-term goal, is what I'm trying to place to you. She's progressing everything up, but she's not looking at the long-term perspectives of everything. She's moving off how she feels. I want to have a family. I feel like I want to have kids. I feel like I want to be married. I feel like I want to be your girl. I feel like I like you, so you're already your man, right? A man on the other side, in our brain, getting married is one of the most important decisions that we've ever made in our entire lives. And listen to me on this, ladies, because I'm preaching to you right now. Getting married is one of the most important decisions we'll ever make in our entire life. So I say that to say, if a man decides he does not want to marry you, to the point where you have to ask him to marry you, because he's not going to propose to you, it's not going to work out. You're not the one. You're not the one. That means that man sat there, he thought about it, he put everything together, he did all the calculations, and he came to the conclusion that he just don't really like you like that. So once you decide to propose to him, you're basically forced in a situation that the man has already decided in his head is not what he wants. If you're the right one, the man's going to propose to you. You never, as a woman, have to propose to the man. Alright? Even when I make my videos and I talk about women shooting their own shots, which I'm going to make another one, because y'all really need to get on that. I never tell you to ask a man to be your boyfriend. When I say lady shoot your shot, I am talking about identifying what type of man you want and letting that man know that you're open, available, and interested, right? That's something as small as just initiating a conversation with him. That's something as small as you see him ordering drinks at the bar or your drinks next to him. That's something as small as maybe sending a friend over and saying, hey, you know, my friend's interested in you. I'm talking about those types of things. I'm not talking about walking up on a grown-ass man saying, hey, I think you're fine, take my number. You don't want to do that. It's going to put you in the wrong box. I'm not talking about having gone on 2 or 3 or 4 dates with a man and be like, listen, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I don't got time to play. You need to marry me right now. That's not going to work out well. None of that is going to work out well. Alright? That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make, is asking a man to marry you. So ultimately, this didn't work out, of course. Now she's filing for divorce. Now, how crazy do you have to be to ask a man to get on one knee, to ask a man to marry you, and then you file for the divorce? Let that breathe on it back. How crazy do you have to be to get on one knee to ask a man to marry you, and then you file for the divorce? From the man who never wanted to marry you in the first place. I digress. Alright? Personally, I think Jodie got some issues that she needs to work out. Because some of the things that she was saying about her biracial child is very alarming. Biracial kids got to go through enough. But she's on the interview talking about something, my child's going to have a different experience than I had because she's like, she's mixed. And I used to say I wanted a kid who was blackity black, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, if I love this white man, who didn't love you, by the way, you love that white man, he didn't love you, but I digress. If I love this white man, it would be the wrong thing to do to not have a kid with this white man solely because he's white. So I'm going to go ahead and have this kid. Here's the problem, right? Now she done had this kid. She goes to my article and says, then I'm realizing that this child is black and white. So now I'm having to fight my own internalized demons because I essentially don't like what my child is, which is a light-skinned girl. So now I have this little light-skinned girl, and I don't know how to feel about it because I was traumatized. So now you're playing colorist games, and you're dealing with colorism, and you're talking about you don't really know how to feel about it because your daughter's going to be light-skinned, and you've been traumatized by light-skinned, and you got some demons you fighting with light-skinned people and some colorism issues. You're bringing all that to this little girl. Mind you were sleeping with a white man. So what exactly did you expect to happen? I repeat, you were sleeping with a white man. So what exactly did you expect to happen? You thought your kid was still going to be black. So if you had a colorism problem, if you were quote unquote traumatized by light-skinned people, you had demons that you were fighting with that, why would you make the decision to have a kid with a white man knowing that kid was going to come out light-skinned? So listen, I'm not even going to get into that one. There's a lot I could say about that one, but that would make the video even longer than it already is. I'm going to leave that one alone, and I'm going to hope she can work her demons out, and her child will be fine. Alright? So they're getting a divorce. On Josh's part, she got her own money. The gap is not really big enough for me to really he doesn't have to be concerned with really child support, alimony, or anything like that. They're too damn close to income. I don't think she would really get much of anything that's going to hurt anything. So this doesn't hurt him. She's the one who filed the divorce, which should surprise nobody. I told you guys a lot of the times, women just get married because they want to have a wedding, because they want to have the ring. They have no plans until death do us part. They don't even look at the part about till death do us part. A lot of them don't look to the part about submitting to their husband. All they see is a wedding and a ring and a status symbol. It's status for them. The end of the day, she got pregnant. She didn't want to be looked at as a hoe. So she's like, yo, you're going to have to marry me. So him being the white man that he is, because that's their culture anyway. He's just like, all right, whatever, I guess I'll do it. At the end of the day, it was never really compatible. He never really loved her. I do think she loved him. I think part of it was her not wanting to be looked at as a hoe. I also think part of it was she really did like this white man. Clearly she has some issues with her dark skin because she's traumatized by light-skinned women. I know these light-skinned women weren't beaten up, and you know what? I don't know. Maybe they weren't. Who knows? Like I said, I'm going to leave that part alone. I'm going to leave that part alone because we don't have enough time to get into that. But let's just recap before we get out of here. Ladies, rule number 1, alright? If you have a fling with a man, keep it at the fling. Best case scenario, friends with benefits, but me personally, I don't even think you should do that much because y'all weren't really friends first. It was a fling. Leave it at the fling. Enjoy it for what it was. Just leave it alone. It's not going to work out 9 out of 10 times, okay? Rule number 2, if you get pregnant, that does not mean you need to be married. That does not mean you need to be in a relationship. Your ass is just pregnant. If you want to keep your virtue, stop having casual sex. Or have casual sex with protection, so you don't have to worry about having a baby. Alright? And number 3, never ask a man to marry you. Men are logical. Marriage is the biggest decision they'll make in their life. If they're hesitating about marrying you, it's because you're not the one. You either wait until he comes to the conclusion that you're the one, or you move on and you find someone who's the one for you. But you never ask a man to marry you. A man is supposed to find a wife does not find a husband. A woman can let a man know she's available to be wife if she thinks he will be a good suitor, but it is his decision. The minute you decide to ask a man to marry you, it's not going to work out 9 out of 10 times. Alright? So that's my recaps on this. Alright? Hopefully y'all can learn something from it. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.